Hey, we're back here again in Denton, Texas on a brisk afternoon, we'll call it. I'm here with Dakota Smith at Plano, Texas and Trinity Community College. Dakota, we're thrilled to have you back here in the North Texas area in Denton, but you know, at your previous school here at Trinity, you guys went to an undefeated season. What was that like?
It was very humbling. You know, it's always good to be a part of a winning program, and very humbling, and I'm excited to take what I learned there and to bring it here.
Oh yeah, you know, everybody here in Mean Green Nation's excited to see the postseason play out in North Texas coming up. You know, another thing here, kind of touching on that local kid, being from Plano, what's it like being back in your home, you know, basically in your stomping grounds right next to your hometown?
It's a great feeling. Big family guy, so all the family's close, and I love doing stuff in the community, and that's always great.
Oh yeah, it's great having that support staff right next to, you know, basically right next door with you. Well, Dakota, we're going to be excited to see your progression here through at North Texas, and back to you guys. Thank you.
One of the tight ends, Kelvin Smith, tight end out of Spring, Texas.
Tight ends are hard to find now in today's high school game because everybody's going four wides.
Yeah.
And it's even getting tough for the pros.
That is,
you know, fullbacks and tight ends, they're a dying breed.
This is the place to come, though.
Yes, it is.
They run the two tight ends here, and sometimes three at the University of North Texas.
Which I need to take up with the head coach, by the way, when he gets out here.
Oh, yeah?
He's got to learn that football does fly. It's aerodynamically sound. We can get it in the air from time to time, right?
Well, okay, it's interesting you say that just 4 days from the Super Bowl. It would have been maybe easier to run that darn thing from the 1 yard line as opposed to trying to throw it in from the 1 yard. Were you screaming at your TV?
Yeah, I was just saying, wow.
What are they doing?
Yeah, and I truth be told, I was with Troy Aikman, Jason Garrett, at a little Super Bowl, and we're just all kind of dumbfounded. My 16-year-old was dumbfounded.
Name dropping.
No, it's not.
The
No, it's not.
One Babe Laufenberg.
No, it's not, because I left Jerry Jones out. I left Joe Namath out. No, I'm kidding.
If Joe Namath would have been there, yeah, that would have been.
I'd still be there.
Leading the way, yeah, and who was there? Let's take a look at some of these recruits who are coming to North Texas. We mentioned 25 in all. There are transfers, 9 transfers that are coming here either from Division I or junior college. We'll start off with Kration Bar, an offensive lineman. Out of Flower Mound, we'll run some of his highlights there. Good size at 6'3", 296 pounds. The offensive line has been a big key here for the University of North Texas in a ground attack that has been grinding out a lot of yards. There you get a good look at Kration Bar, good-looking youngster at 6'3", 262 pounds. Rodney Bendy is the wide receiver out of John Tyler, who is coming here at 6'5". For a quarterback, that's a pretty nice target to look out there and find.
No question. You love those big guys, especially when you're not real accurate. You know.
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to let you walk down that path.
Well, I will say this though. Hey, we've seen Cole Beasley though, right? All 5 of them.
Yeah.
And you like throwing to that guy too.
Yeah.
So they all bring a little something to the table.
DeAndre Bradley is a wide receiver from Cedar Hill. Boy, the Cedar Hill program has put out a huge number of Division I programs, and it's good to see that pipeline open up to North Texas.
You know, and I saw Cedar Hill play a couple times, and I was like, okay, you want that one? I'll take the other one.
Yeah.
You want DeMarcus Lodge? I like this. Just give me one of them, and I'd be pretty happy. And they got one here.
Yeah, there he is getting deep right there. That is DeAndre Bradley, a 6'2" receiver out of Cedar Hill. Nate Brooks is a defensive back from White House. Much has been said about his athletic ability. He'll get a chance to play in the defensive secondary for Chris Koch. We just talked to the new defensive coordinator here at North Texas. And Caleb Chumley, who visited with Coleman Feeley just a few minutes ago, quarterback out of Longview. And again, good size at 6'5", 245 pounds. What were you listed at when you're 6'3", aren't you?
I'm 6'3". Coming out of high school, I think I was about 195. 6'3". I didn't grow in college, but about 6'3", 195. And yeah, that's a big thing too, the size. Yeah. I mean, of course, that was 1978 when I came out of school, graduated from high school. And the size of these kids now, the quarterback. Yeah. I was a relatively big quarterback, certainly coming into college, and then even going to the pros, I was about 210. 215. That was not a bad size quarterback, and now you see these huge guys coming out. I mean, the Cam Newtons.
It's amazing the size. Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick, So the size has really changed the game.
Well, speaking of size, Kevin Dillman is a 6'4" tight end out of Denton Guyer. He actually played junior varsity football this last fall because he transferred from California, and in transfer rules, sometimes it may work out that you are not cleared to be at the varsity level, and there were a number of schools after Kevin Dillman. He's going to play his football here in Denton, and I know the North Texas coaches are very excited about him.
Yeah, and you do have to explain. Wait a minute, we just signed a guy that was on the JV team?
I know.
You know so, good for the explanation.
But there you see his ability to run the football with some power, and yeah, that's that's wide open spaces there.
You know what happens too, George, and as you well know, in some of these games, the JV team may play before the varsity, and I'm sure that the varsity coach is looking at the JV team, seeing him go and go, oh my goodness, how good is this varsity team going to be if this kid can't make the varsity? But obviously there was a reason for it.
The transfer, the reason. DeMichael Harrison, defensive tackle from Midwest City, Oklahoma, went to Midwest High School. Heard very good things about him from the coaching staff. Eli Howard is a defensive end from San Angelo Central. They've been a traditional power here in the state of Texas for years, and North Texas dipping out of West Texas. Chet Munden is an offensive lineman out of Marshall, 319 pounds and 6'5", so another big member to the offensive line that North Texas added. We've heard good things, babe, about Ashton Preston. He's a defensive back, another one from Edmond, Oklahoma, Santa Fe High School, and they like his athletic ability and the fact that he can cover a lot of ground.
Of course, I know when George thinks of Edmond, Oklahoma, he thinks of a golf course.
Yeah, that's right.
They also produce football players.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, it's interesting when you are building the team and how widely you throw your net. You could look at just at the Metroplex, you would think, and build a football team. But when you think about all the Division I schools in the state of Texas, then you have schools just north of the border, and you have, what, 90% of Division I schools in America trying to come to the Lone Star State and recruit.
Well, I think it's interesting too, unlike the pros, in college you wait till today. Now obviously they have a pretty good idea who's coming, who's not, but things can change. The pros, if I need a defensive tackle, I go draft one.
Right.
Or I sign one in free agency.
Right.
Here, you keep your fingers
crossed.
crossed.
You hope to go find one, yeah.
You hope to find one,
yeah.
And then of course you hope he becomes the player that you thought he was coming out of high school, and it's always a crapshoot. We see the NFL, they miss on players. So, and that's at a stage in the player's career where they're far more developed and you have far more product knowledge on that player. So I do think it's interesting coming out, watching high school kids and projecting them into Division I football.
Hey, I don't know if you saw the note from the Super Bowl that has a tie-in with the recruiting season, and that is there was not one 5-star recruit that started in the Super Bowl.
I saw that, and that was amazing to me.
That most were 3-star.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to sometimes kids get overlooked, and sometimes, as you mentioned, you're leaving at 17, 18 years old. You're not through growing yet. Yeah. You're not a finished athlete yet.
Well, and you look at the quarterbacks in that Super Bowl. 3rd rounder, 6th rounder. Tony Romo's going up there to battle Green Bay, free agent. And 2 great examples right here that we just talked to earlier. Yeah. Lance Dunbar and Zack Orr.
Right, and I don't remember them being higher than a 3-star.
Well, and then
who comes up with the star system too, you know? I mean,
that's not in my area of expertise, you know.
Well, and you know, and I think that's an interesting point. You can't give them all 4 and 5 stars. There's a very fine line in between what makes a guy that you think is a 4-star versus a 5-star. I don't know how they evaluate it as well. Yeah. I think what's important is your recruiting coordinator, and here that's Mike Grant. We may visit with him here in just a moment. Before we talk to Dan McCarney, you identify the players that work for you, in your system and that you're looking for.
And I think also, when you say who identifies him as a 3 or 4 or 5-star player, the same guy that says Tom Brady's a 6th-rounder and we shouldn't draft Tony Romo. Right. So it just moves up the food chain a little bit.
Right. It's interesting what Tom Brady would have been. He, according to the article I read, was too old because they didn't have stars when he came out and eventually signed with Michigan. A couple more names for you, just in case you haven't seen the list of recruits, and we'll throw a little bit of video for you here on meangreensports.com. Kelvin Smith just visited with Coleman Feeley. He's the tight end out of Spring at 6'2", 240 pounds. Taylor Robinson is a defensive back out of Keller, another Metroplex player. He played at Keller Central High School. R.D. Wegman is a defensive tackle, Wichita Falls Rider. North Texas with a need at defensive line. There's been graduation and injuries there. Alex Woodworth is an offensive lineman from Mesquite Horn, another Metroplex player who promises to get an opportunity here to play up front for the Mean Green. And Roderick Young, defensive tackle, 6'1", 290 pounds, out of Spring. Those are the high school recruits that are coming here, and from my understanding, I think maybe an exception or two, they will all start here in the summer and then get ready to play in the fall. It goes fast too. Next thing you know, it's fall and you're getting ready for another football season.
It does go fast, and it's interesting too because there's such a jump up, obviously, in competition.
Yeah.
But the competition in practice kind of gets you ready for the competition that's about to come in the games. But as cocky as some of these kids may come in and seem, there's always a little bit of doubt. Can I play at the next level?
Can I do it?
Can I do it?
Can I do this thing? Well, let's visit with another one of the signees from the class of 2015. Go out on the deck to Coleman Feeley.
Coleman Feeley again on National Signing Day here. I'm with Kration Bar at a Marcus High School in Flower Mound. Kration, you made a unique commitment here to North Texas by graduating early and enrolling in college halfway through the year. What's that quick transition been like from high school life into the college lifestyle?
Oh, the school is definitely different. You know, you got to study outside of class. You just can't sit in class and pay attention. Then you got to do a little work outside as well. And then the biggest thing is, I mean, you're on your own, so it's a lot different. But it's a good change. I'm very excited that I did, do that. Oh yeah,
and we're glad to have you here at North Texas. So let me ask you ready to give us your Coach Simmons impression yet, or?
No, that's too early.
No, I'd imagine. And being an offensive lineman, OLP, I got you on that one. I'm a former offensive lineman myself. Let me ask you, is the breakfast at Champs as good as I remember?
Oh yeah, the omelets are good. I get an omelet every morning, sausage and chocolate milk. That's 3 or 4 glasses of that. I gotta be careful though, that adds up.
Yeah, I know that story as well. Well, hey guys, thanks again, and back to you, George.
Thank you, Coleman. And you'll recognize the man in the middle right now. He's the head coach at the University of North Texas, Dan McCarney. Happy signing day to you. Congratulations on your class.
Good to see you.
Great to have this gentleman over here. You've known him for a while. Back in the Big Ten days.
An amateur surrounded by professionals here.
Well, I don't know about that. You've been doing this a while, and you were hoping for an impactful class, just like every coach in America. You went some transfer emphasis here. Let's maybe start there. Let's talk about the transfers that you have coming as a part of this class.
Yeah, George, what we did was we addressed our needs and looked at when the season was over, where do we need to get better for 2015, and how do we get there, and who's interested in us, who really wants us, who likes us, who do we really like. And when you go through that and you work through that combination and that formula, that's what we've come up with. So I feel great about this class. There's no doubt in my mind it's the best class we've had since I've been here. I have a better seat of an evaluation of that than anybody, and I really like this class. I'm closer to these kids. I'm closer to the families of these young men. We spent a lot of time with these guys. It's a great finish. We've not finished strong in recruiting since I took the job until today. This is the first time we've finished strong, and that means no one defected lately. We had 2 young men that defected, changed their mind in the last month, that decided to go to a Big 12 school from the state of Texas. In the last month, everyone else held their commitments, and then in the end, in recent days, we beat Boise State, who was in the Fiesta Bowl for a young man. We beat San Diego State, who was in a bowl game this year for a young man, and we beat Texas El Paso for a young man that was in a bowl game this year. So it was a strong finish, and the credit really belongs to the players on my team that host these guys and my assistant coaches that work so hard and so tediously to build relationships and get these young men to say, yes, I want to go to North Texas.
You talk about a few of the defectors, if we can call them that.
I will.
I'm sure they don't see themselves as such. Is it always a nervous time for you the night before this day comes around? A little bit of anxiety, just saying, I know this, because you're dealing with 17-year-old kids who can change by a tweet.
No question.
So how long do you sleep at night?
Yeah, not much, babe. I got about 4 hours last night. So, but today, a day like this, you're just kind of going on adrenaline. But We didn't have anybody change their mind. The last time, as I mentioned, we had a young man a week ago that had been committed for 3 days that got an offer late from a Big 12 institution, and that's where he went. So good luck to him. Best wishes. God bless him. We're not mad. But everyone else held on. And you know what it is? It's deep-seated loyalty. It's young men that many of these guys have been committed for a long time. And their families came in and believed in what we were doing here. And they see progress, and they see improvement, and they see a foundation of which they wanted their sons to be a part of. But despite, we've got a lot of things that we sell here, and the future, and the conference, and the bowl games, and the television, and some of the great things we've done already in the short time we've been here. But it still doesn't come down to buildings. It comes down to people. It comes down to people. And you have to build great relationships and trust and respect. And all of my staff, I think, really did a great job of that.
We mentioned one of the transfers earlier, Mac, Courtney Finney, a linebacker out of Trinity Valley. He was a very productive linebacker there at Trinity Valley. Threw up a bunch of tackles. Do you look for someone like him to make an immediate impact for you next year?
Absolutely. I mean, he's the National Defensive Player of the Year in all the junior colleges in America. And look at the stats and look at the way he plays. Turn that tape on and push play and watch him play, and you'll see why we think he can impact our program. But he and Dakota, both coming from Trinity Valley, Snacks did a pretty darn good job here as an offensive lineman the last couple of years, and we trust the coaching staff down there. Brad, the head coach, has done a great job with that program. Look at the record they had this year and all the success. But we feel like we got two tremendous guys coming from Trinity Valley Junior College.
And Coach George has ticked off the names of the 25 players. He hasn't ticked off the players themselves. That would come if he was still here.
I just listed them, yeah.
But you do, you talk about the families, and you come in and you recruit the families, and the mom has to be good with the coach and where her son's going, and you're basically saying, hey, you've raised this child for 17 or 18 years. You know what, we're going to take over from here, pass the baton. We'll take them for the next 4. So how important is it to go in and sell that family as much as the kid?
It's incredibly important, babe, and you know, and you were recruited all around the country. I think your initial decision was Stanford. Ended up in Indiana, 2 great universities. But families are so important, and it may be a mom, it may be a dad, it may be a grandmother. We worked through this whole class came from all places around the country. It's amazing, and international. Here you got Kevin Dillman right here in Denton, Texas, but we're doing a FaceTime with on a big computer screen, talking to his parents over in Sweden, trying to make sure they felt comfortable with me and my coaching staff that their son could come here after he'd been committed to Nebraska for a long time. This is a great young man now, and we're going to put him at tight end. We think that's his position for the future, but it takes connections, respect, trust. Everybody in this whole thing, you never know who might make the difference. And as I tell my coaches all the time, build relationships, be different, be special, be rare. Don't be the same. Don't just ask, how much do you weigh? How's your girlfriend? How'd school go today? Who cares? I mean, really, there's so much more to it than that. Be deep, be special, find out. And I'm not trying to make light of it, but don't be like everybody else that calls. We sell people, we sell relationships, along with this great university that we represent here in North Texas.
I have to ask you, Coach, how are you staying so thin? Because I remember, it was a while back, but when I was getting recruited and the coaches would come in, and John Robinson was in there from USC, and Dan Devine's in there from Notre Dame, all these coaches come in, and my mom would always make dessert. They'd have coffee and dessert. They'd always come at night. Yeah. And my mom would give them a piece of cake that was the size of a, she was an Italian woman. And then when they finish the first, and of course you have to say, Miss Laufenberg,
don't say no.
Don't
say no.
And then she'll let me give you another piece, and then, oh no, I'm good. Oh, you don't like my cake? Oh no. So how do you walk out of those things after 3 of those visits a night for 2 months and say, wow, how do you not put on the weight?
These are the same. That's a good question. I mean, it's a really good question, babe. 2 things. Number 1, you never say no to the families, no matter how good or how bad that food might look.
Sure.
Never say no. Never turn it down. And number 2, I'm married to a younger wife. So
there you go.
To keep up with Margie, I've got to keep going.
I think number 2 supersedes number 1.
I think you're right.
You mentioned Kevin Dillman. It's always the question that is asked of a coach on signing day. How many of these freshmen do you see with a legitimate chance to play for you next year?
Yeah, George, who knows? What we do, though, honestly, what we do and what I've seen through the years, and I go all the way back to, my first year in Division I football was 1971 at Iowa. So this is a long time. Never left Division I as a player, graduate assistant, part-time, full-time. So I got a pretty good feel for Division I football. And you never, ever, ever nowadays say no to a young man, no matter who it is. Coach him, teach him, rep him, get ready, because you may be maybe the next guy. Who would have known that our kicker would have come in last year, named Trevor Moore? All of a sudden, he's a first-team freshman All-American. He makes 56 out of 58 kicks, and not too bad for a true freshman. Who knows who's the next impact guy that can come in and do that for our football team and help us be successful and win? And when you have bowl games that go all the way from now in Conference USA from Hawaii to the Bahamas, let's go. And let's anything in all these places in between, who can help us get there? No matter what age or where he comes from or what conference or junior college or high school, let's find a way to be successful here. And I just walked by 3 guys a little bit ago, and I know you guys had them on a little bit ago. But if I can find another Zack Orr, Craig Robertson, and Lance Dunbar, let's go find some more of those guys. And then I can look like a really, really good football coach.
Well, and as you get this group together, it's one thing for certain. It looks like, and you're all about competition at every position. It looks like you're going to have some pretty spirited competition at quarterback.
Well, we will, and we should, and it's got to be better. We weren't good enough at quarterback last year, and Babe knows that position as good as anybody in this room right now. You played it, you played at the highest level, and I coached against him, as you probably remember, George. Yeah. We talked about it when he was at Indiana and I was at Iowa, and he was a hell of a football player. There's no doubt about it. But we were not good enough, and when you roll 3 quarterbacks through a 12-game schedule and there's no injuries, means none of them were probably good enough at their consistency or their productivity. Are they high class? Are they good young men? Do you love having them in the program? Darn right. I love them. Were they good enough consistently every Saturday? No, they weren't good enough. So we got to make sure that we're better. Those guys have to elevate and upgrade their performance. And the guys that we bring in this program, I think, will definitely improve the competition that we have in this program.
And Coach, let me just tell you, I would have got you fired if I was your quarterback. Just so.
I don't believe that.
Let me just say very quickly, Lee Corso was my coach at Indiana. He gets fired after my senior year. I see him once a year. He comes back. We still meet for coffee or lunch or something when he's in town.
He's always your coach.
He's always my coach, and then he always says, I'll be his quarterback. And we beat Purdue twice, and that's a big in-state rival when I was there. But I always tell him, Coach, you should thank me, because if I was better, you'd still be coaching. Everybody hates you, and you make half the money. I said, you go to ESPN. He's a rock star. Everybody loves him.
So you basically made Lee Corso's career.
Well, he makes twice the money, and he works half the time. Isn't that a great trade-off?
Maybe you did.
So he should thank me for not being really good.
I know this much now, George. I'm going to tell you what. When we went and played, and Babe will remember this, but I was at Iowa with Hayden Fry, and we went over to Bloomington, Indiana, and he had gotten hurt, and he had we didn't even know if he was going to play. Had a cast on his foot, and we're out there in pregame warm-up, and he's gimping and limping and gimping and limping around, and we're going, you know, I think we got a good chance to get after this guy. And it took to the last series of the game for us to beat Indiana and Babe Laufenberg because of the performance and the heart and the competitive desire of this guy. Now, that's a true story now.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, look at this monitor, because on this monitor, this is signing day 4 years ago. That is the late, great Bill Walsh, the head coach at Stanford. There's Babe and his dad. And take us back to that day.
Well, it's funny. It was a much simpler time, Coach. We didn't have, I didn't put on a cap on ESPN.
Look at the hair.
It's in our kitchen.
You didn't have a barber back in those days,
I didn't have
Babe.
a barber. Couldn't afford one. I wasn't getting paid. But I did like, if you notice, if we can bring that shot back up, it looks like my dad's name was Bill Laufenberg, and of course Bill Walsh, and it looked like they went to a 2-for-1 special on the V-neck cashmere sweater there, doesn't it?
It does. You get 2 for 1.
Yeah. And
got a white one and a blue one there.
I would tell my kids, because both my boys, I got 2 boys, and they said, Dad, no collared shirt. Because when we go out somewhere, I say, okay, just put on a collared shirt. And I looked at that.
How about the hair, too?
The hair was, you got to remember, that was 1978.
Sure.
Love it.
That was stylish.
But that is Bill Walsh that you're signing with there. What an amazing experience that must have been.
Sitting in the kitchen, I felt like Cliff Clavin.
Great memories.
Yeah.
Great memories.
Well, and you mentioned you saw Babe in Big Ten country, and your schedule was released a couple of days ago. You're going to be asked about it a lot here in a couple of months, but one of the games on there is a return to your alma mater, the Iowa Hawkeyes. What do you think that day is going to be like for you?
Oh, it'll be a great opportunity, tremendous atmosphere, George, no doubt about it. Here, listen to this one now. How about we got 12 weeks in a row we play with not a break. 8 teams that were bowl eligible last year, or the 12 teams that we play regular season, including at SMU, at Iowa, at Tennessee, non-conference, before you get into Conference USA, who, by the way, is 8-2 in the 10 bowl games in the last 2 years. We helped contribute to that, but 8-2 in the 10 bowl games against America. So some great opportunities and challenges, no doubt. This is, I mean, it's an extremely challenging schedule, no doubt about it, but it will be a great opportunity for us because here tomorrow night, this is such a small world. Tomorrow night, they have a huge Nike clinic up in WinStar. I've never been in the place, okay? Tomorrow night, the last 2 speakers on Thursday night are Kirk Ferentz and Dan McCarney. Tomorrow night, on Thursday night up at WinStar. So I got to be real careful about what I say.
Yeah, don't talk too much noise.
No, because we're going to be sitting there listening to each other. And then in September, we're going to go back to my hometown where I spent 36 years and go try and beat the Hawks again.
That's going to be great. And I know you're looking forward to this season. I know you're looking forward to this offseason. Your crew that's already here, already working out with your new strength coach. And this is it may not seem like it, February, a very important time for the building of a football program between recruiting and off-season workouts.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But the commitment of the coaching staff did a heck of a job. I really love the job that Mike Grant did as my recruiting coordinator. We were creative. We came up with some great ideas. And we touched a lot of hearts and a lot of souls and a lot of minds in this class. And this class of 25, I'm really proud of.
Dan, thanks for the time.
Great to be with you, George. Babe, great to be with you. Thanks a lot.
Babe Laufenberg, Dan McCarney, I'm George Dunham. Thanks for joining us on meangreensports.com. We'll see you here tonight at Apogee Stadium, a recruiting special that will include the head coach, Dan McCarney. We'll talk to you then. Oh, we're still going?
Oh, we're still going.
Oh, we're still going.
We're still
You
going.
said 1 minute. Hey, we're still on the air.
It's a surprise announcement.
It's a surprise announcement. Well, we're now joined by University of North Texas Athletic Director Rick Villarreal and Deputy Athletic Director Hank Dickinson. Afternoon.
George, how you doing? Good to see you.
Happy
Thanks for
signing
being
day
up
to
here.
you. Yeah,
Thank
you
you
bet.
much.
You bet.
It's a great day for the university and football team. You know, it was exciting to see this group, and haven't been here you've been here a lot longer than I have, but being here almost 15 years, to know when you're going through this recruiting process and you're talking to coaches and you're battling San Diego State and you're battling Boise State and you're battling those kind of schools. You know, Arizona State's calling your guys at the last second, that kind of deal. Just shows where we've come. You know, we're now out there recruiting the kind of kids that you can play at this level and be competitive every time you step out on the field, and that's a great compliment to our coaching staff.
We just talked about the schedule. I know there's not the off day, but boy, there is a 12 weeks of action, including some Texas teams coming here. It's an exciting looking schedule.
It's a great schedule, but you know it's not the schedule we want. And I want to make that real clear with our audience. You know, it's our goal to have 6 home games every year and to not be out there playing more than 1 guarantee game a year. And when the deal with us moving into Conference USA and then Tulsa moving back out created some contract problems for us, but you know, right now through 2019, we have 6 home games that are already on the schedule, and we'll continue to do that. But this is a great schedule. In talking to some of the players, you know, they love the opportunity to go up and play at Iowa. They're excited about that opportunity because you want to play against the best. So we think it's going to be a really good schedule. That's especially opening up with SMU right down the road. And you know, if we do a great job as Mean Green Nation, we'll turn that into a home game and fill up that place with green shirts.
Hank, I know you've seen recruiting classes come and go over the last 20 years. Based on what we were just talking about and who was in on some of these players that North Texas won the battles, that's very encouraging for the program.
I'd echo what Rick said. When you flip some schools that have a good tradition of signing good classes, then it shows you're going the right way. And I think, you know, one of the guys that's fairly new to the staff that's done a great job, Kevin Patrick, got out there and really hustled hard. And I think we're seeing some of these guys on staff that are real good recruiters on the road. And Chris Kosh is a great addition as well.
You know, we have made a lot of announcements today, and we kind of want to close this class with another addition. About 4 years ago in our Hall of Fame, we created a new award called the Fred McCain Award, and it's for people who have contributed to this program and given back in ways that help advance our kids, our program, those kind of deals. And, you know, we're, after 25 years, we hate to see you go. We really do. And, you know, we'll miss a lot of those calls, and we'll miss just your friendship and those kind of things around. But we want to announce today that, that George, you will be presented with that award and inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow. That's the first I've heard of this. Thank you very much.
It's been a hard thing to keep secret. But we want to remind fans,
Thank you.
coming up on February 26th, it'll be your final home radio call. That's when the Mean Green take on Charlotte. We want everyone that hadn't been to a game to come out, and everyone that has been coming out to keep coming out, because that's going to be a big night to celebrate 25 years. We got a few more surprises for you, but going into the Hall of Fame will happen this spring. So we wanted to make sure you had plans for that.
You're not supposed to do things like this to me. But thank you so much. As I said, I just thank the University of North Texas for letting me live a dream for 25 years, because that's the way I feel. And it's hard to step away. It's something I feel like I need to do. But I am not leaving. I'm telling you, I'm going to be around. And I told John Natardi I'm winning the Mean Green competition, Mean Green Club competition of Find 15. I'm going to find 15. But thank you, Rick and Hank. I can't tell you how much that means to me. And I don't think I can't even comprehend something like that. But thank you very, very much for my entire family. I appreciate that.
You're more than welcome.
May I just say something very quickly?
You can't cry as long as you
No.
don't cry.
First, let me say congratulations to you,
Thank
George.
you, babe. Thank you, babe.
Number 2 guys who are out of work. Secondly, do you know how insufferable he is going to be, walking around as a Hall of Famer?
Hall of Famer, yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
He gets a ring.
I'm glad we didn't do this at the start of the show, Rick.
Wow, that is amazing. Thank you.
Congratulations, George.
Thanks, babe. Thanks for being up here today. And thank you for doing that.
Well, George,
This
it's,
afternoon.
if we, I'd love to have 50,000 members of the Hall of Fame that got in the way that you did, because as we've talked about before, to have to listen to you talk about the Mean Green when I was driving back and forth to TCU when I was coaching down there, but then to appreciate it so much as an athletic director here, to have somebody that loves the program that much. And you've seen the worst and you've seen the best. And, I think you've been pretty straight, but the one thing you've never been is a doubter. You've never been one that's really demeaned the program and the process. You've always kept a positive outlook, and you are truly representative of the Hall of Fame, so congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'll always believe. Thank you very much.
Congrats.
Thank you. What a great day. Thanks for tuning us in on meangreensports.com. And again, we hope to see you here tonight at Apogee Stadium.